Hey everybody, it's John again, and man, I'm really excited about this guy. One of my favorite franchises from back in the day is definitely the Gremlins, and the Bat Gremlin was one of my favorite Gremlins that came out of the second one, where they all got kind of their DNA mutated and they changed into different guys. And this one is the NECA version of the Bat Gremlin. As you can see here, you can see him in the box, kind of. A little bit of glare, and it's got the kind of gothic theme. If you remember in the movie, a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen it yet. Cover your ears. He gets covered in like concrete and becomes a little stone statue on the side of this little gothic church. And there's the back of the box. Has him with his little smiley glare. He does come with a flying stand, which is very nice. Not really a whole lot of other information on him. But that's really all there is. Warner Brothers put out the movie, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching both of them, especially this time of year. The first one's very cold and Christmassy, which I love watching cold movies in the winter here in Michigan because, well, it gets really cold. I think the high today is 7. So, yay for that. Anyway, hold on a second, and I'll pull this guy out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, here he is, outside the package, and right off the bat, I have to say I really like the paintwork and the look of his ears. But his wings bother me a little bit, because they're supposed to be posable and articulated, but they just do this. They don't move. I don't know if there's supposed to be a bendy wire or something in them. But they definitely don't change their shape or position. At least they came with the flying stand. That's nice. Which I was complaining about my RoboCop. Let's see if we can get a better look at his face, because his face is really, really well done. I love the little bit of paint work in his eyes, so the red, yellow, with a little black in there. You can see his little bat nose, all of his little teeth in here. The upper row, his jaw is articulated, which is great. But like I said, look at those ears. The little bit of flesh work in the inside, the structure, sculpting of the ear is really great. Like these little touches of colors, a little bit of gray in here, and they also articulated, so you can change the expression of his ears on his head, so those are great. He does have a little bit of articulation at his head here, so it does go round and round as well, and he does have some articulation at his neck. And these spines here on his side do hurt. And he does have a little bit of up and down movement on his shoulders. And don't seem to be any up or down. Maybe they're just really tight. Well, that one does. So this one's just really tight. I'm going to try to be very gentle. And he has his little hinged elbows. And they rotate as well. And you can see that his hands also have a little bit of rotation at the wrists, and they are hinged a little bit. Again, really great paintwork. There's his nails there, which are very well sculpted. He's got this almost slimy, wet shine to them, which I really like. All these little individual scales are sculpted on, and there's no real articulation in his body. He does have some movement in his hips, and his knees do bend, and his feet do have a little bit of a hinge, and they can go back and forth as well. The texturing on his overall body is great. It's got a little bit of pink here. Like like the color changes on this back. And you can see his kind of spines in his, well, where his wings attached to his back here. The detail on the top of his head is great. They look very reptilian. You can see the different veins and changes in his ears. The back here are really nice. And then he does have... and then we get to his wings. They've got a lot of detail on them. They feel very leathery. As you can see, there's all these little holes, which usually is a symbol that there is a... well, there it goes. Okay. So there is a bendy wire in there. It doesn't seem to want to bend at the ends. Like there's nothing in here. They just want to fold back. So I can get it to bend here, which that's helpful. But I can't like completely close them. Because they're just going to flop back open. They're attached down here by these little tabs and go in, so they can't move. But they seem to have some kind of articulation where they attach to his back right here that I can't really get to change. Maybe they're just plugged in. I feel like they're just, yeah, it looks like they're just plugged in, so there's no real articulation there. He's kind of a wobbly guy with these floppy wings he's got going on. This one just does not want to take any other shape. But they did give you this handy dandy little flight stand that you can slip in here between his wings and around his waist. And then you can have him sitting on your shelf. Pose however you like. Wish this one wing wasn't so curled though. I might have to see if I can figure out a way to work the plastic to go a little bit more like that. Well, that's a little bit better. I guess really just, well, it's going to go right back to that shape. Play with it a little bit, and maybe I can get it to hold the shape that I like it to. He even has little nails up here on his wings, which is nice. Now the only weird thing about him, the Gremlins line their own kind of scale, so they don't really fit with any other line that I have. Just to see, here's General Sundar from the He-Man line. He's huge, compared to them. Gremlins weren't really that big. But there's not really a whole lot of figures. Maybe if you have some of the Hot Toys guys, he might be a little bit more in scale with them. But overall, other than this little bit of a wing curling up on me, he's very nicely done. And he makes me smile. That's pretty much the only reason to get these things nowadays, isn't it? They tickle something that reminds you of that nostalgic moment when you first watched that movie. And they did a good job of pulling him off. So congrats, NECA, for this guy. He's pretty awesome. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to get my hands on the spider gremlin that they put out, which is even larger and more detailed than this guy is. And I really enjoy the sculpting on his head and his ears. That's I'm going to say my favorite part of this guy. As always, if you enjoyed this video at all, hit that like button, let me know. If you didn't, hit that dislike button, leave a comment what I could do better, or maybe what gremlins you collect, if you do have any of them. I'm kind of curious on what figures you guys have. I know that NECA's putting out the ultimate Gizmo figure this year. I think it's this year, or the end of the... coming up pretty soon. I'll be pretty happy if I can get my hands on one of them. As always, subscribe and help me out a little bit, and I will see you guys around. Thanks. Bye.